$300 wetsuit versus $80 wetsuit. Where the markup actually goes. This is the reason an $80 wetsuit and a $300 wetsuit can roll off the exact same factory line, cut from broadly the same rubber, while most of that price difference disappears into things that never once touch the water. What you are paying for has far less to do with the suit itself, and far more to do with the journey it takes to reach you. A slice of that extra money does buy genuine upgrades, and I will show you precisely which ones. A much larger slice vanishes into markup, marketing, and the surfers paid to wear the logo. And by the time we are done, you will spot the difference at a glance. The factory is where this starts. Cheap or expensive, most surf wetsuits lead back to a handful of Asian factories, and one towers over the rest, the Sheiko Group in Taiwan. Yilan, Taiwan. That's where Sheiko opened its doors in 1968, and it now stands as the largest wetsuit manufacturer on the planet. Roughly 65% of the global high-performance wetsuit market is Sheiko's, according to Forbes, which pegged the company's output at around 4.5 million wetsuits a year, spread across 8 production sites in 4 countries and more than 15,000 workers. Look down Sheiko's client list and you'll find O'Neill, Quicksilver, Rip Curl, Billabong's XL label, and Patagonia sitting on it. When a budget suit and a premium suit share the same production base, the cost of physically building them can't be what opens up that huge gap between them. That gap gets built somewhere else, on the road to the shop floor. The route to market is the single biggest thing stacked onto your price. Steve Mara, who founded the direct-to-consumer brand Ho Stevie, told Gear Junkie that pushing wetsuits through third parties like surf shops tacks a 30 to 50% markup onto what the customer finally pays. Piled on top of that, in his words, come the large marketing budgets and the sponsored athlete contracts that saddle brands with serious overhead. None of that runs counter to how the rest of the apparel world sets its prices. A finished piece of clothing usually retails for 4 to 6 times what it costs to produce, because every jump from factory to wholesaler to shop roughly doubles the figure. Strip out one of those handoffs and the savings land straight back in your pocket. The sponsored surfers come next. Brands pay professionals handsomely to wear their gear, and the sums involved climb fast. Surf journalist Nick Carroll reckons most of the top 20 to 30 pros pull in somewhere between $250,000 and $400,000 a year, a handful clearing $1 million, the bulk of it flowing from sponsorship rather than contest winnings. $30 million over 8 years. That was the scale of John Florence's Hurley deal, reported back in 2013, and it tells you how big these numbers can run. Now, those figures usually bundle together everything a surfer earns: the apparel, cars, and the drinks, not the wetsuit brand's cut on its own, and the audited wetsuit sponsorship budgets never actually go public. A precise line item isn't the takeaway here. What matters is simpler. A budget brand with no team to bankroll never carries that cost, which means you never pay it. Marketing follows the very same logic. Heavy spending on advertising and events defines the legacy brands, while the budget and direct labels mostly walk past it. No trustworthy public number exists for exactly how much of a wetsuit's price is marketing, but the direction is obvious, and the brands themselves admit as much. So, what does the extra money actually buy? Because $300 doesn't vanish into pure markup. A chunk of it buys real upgrades, and the seams are the biggest of them. Cheap suits tend to run flat lock seams, where the stitching passes clean through the neoprene and leaves little holes that let water trickle in. Perfectly fine for warm water and not much beyond it. Move up into the mid-premium tier and the seams become glued and blind stitched. The panels bonded together while the needle only bites halfway through, so nothing punches straight through the suit. Water stays out, and you stay warmer. The priciest suits go further, adding internal tape or a liquid seal over the seams for a near waterproof join, and that technology shoves them past $500. On this, the experts line up. The seam decides your warmth more than the thickness of the rubber ever does. That upgrade is the real thing. Better rubber can be a real upgrade as well. Limestone-based neoprene sets the premium benchmark, pioneered by the Japanese firm Yamamoto, whose limestone runs 99.7% calcium carbonate. The companies selling it claim it drinks in around 2% of its weight in water, against roughly 30% for the petroleum-based stuff, and that it comes out about 30% warmer and stretchier. Keep in mind that these numbers originate largely from the very companies selling limestone suits, and industry insiders will tell you several factories, including Shako, turn out limestone foam that's nearly identical, with Yamamoto carrying a brand premium all its own. On the raw material itself, that upgraded neoprene costs only around 10 to 20% more per sheet. A genuine improvement, sure, but a thin slice of a price that more than triples. Everything else that differs is smaller in scale. Premium suits lean on thermal linings for warmth, chest zip, or zip-free entry in place of a back zip so less water floods in, sturdier zippers, water-based glue, and stretchier proprietary rubber born from years of research, the likes of O'Neill's Techno Butter, Rip Curl's Flash Lining, and Fusion Seams, and XL's Dry Lock. A duty even hides in there, since full-body neoprene wetsuits carry a base import tariff of about 7% landing in the U.S. Tally every one of those reasons, and a premium suit earns some of its higher cost. They simply don't stretch to cover the entire gap. The cleanest evidence sits right here. A handful of direct-to-consumer brands build their suits in the same factories, from the same class of premium materials, then sell them for roughly half the legacy price, purely by cutting out the middle. Take Ho Stevie, founded in San Diego in 2014, which sells direct for around $200. A figure gear junkie flagged as less than half the price of a comparable competitor in some cases, built in some of the same factories the big brands use. Neat Essentials, the Australian label that launched in 2013, calls itself not a brand, but a supply network, and openly strips out the branding, the retail markups, the middlemen, the expensive marketing, and the high-priced athlete sponsorships. Then there's the Dutch brand SR-Face, selling online at up to half the price of comparable suits, wrapping top-grade Yamamoto rubber in glued, blind-stitched and taped seams, made in Thailand. Same factories, same materials, no logos, no team, no shop, and half the price. So where does the markup actually land? Not mostly in the rubber. It flows into the surf shop margin, the marketing, and the sponsored surfers, with a real but smaller share going toward better seams, better neoprene, and honest research. That leaves the fair verdict. Expensive suits are a scam. Surf cold water regularly, and the sealed seams, the warmth, and the longer lifespan of a $300 suit will earn back what you paid. Surf now and then, or somewhere warm. And an $80 to $200 suit, a direct-to-consumer one especially, hands you most of the same wetsuit minus the markup. Buying a premium wetsuit isn't the trap. The trap is paying a premium price for materials you could have owned for less. Now you know exactly which part of that $300 was ever truly about keeping you warm. Like and subscribe for more.